You might want to check first then.
No, it's all right. Hello and welcome.
Time. It's not all right.
You're just bad as him. Hello and welcome to another edition of POP After Dark. I am Nick, and joining me on this week's episode, as always, is Mr. Craig Lucas.
All right, Nick, how are you doing, mate?
I'm fine, thank you, Craig. I'm fine. How's life up in Liverpool land?
That's not bad, not bad. I've been driving trains today, and looking out the window, dropping bottles of piss out.
Yeah, and I imagine listening to the Beatles.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and stealing car radios. So just a typical day.
Having some chicken.
And a can of Coke.
Yeah, can of Coke and a chicken.
Yeah, that's the Liverpool way. But we do have a very special guest. One of the most prestigious guests we've had on this show. Mainly because the guest list so far has been pretty weak. Sorry, Adam. But we are joined by, many would say, the second best person on UOP, Mr. Lee Malaby.
Why, aye, man, you wee canny bastard. What are you seeing, like? You seeing our Tracy's better than me?
I could have been referring to Hunter. Of course I wasn't referring to Hunter. Yes, of course, Tracy. I mean, she's lovelier, she's prettier, sorry. And I'd say can probably drink more as well.
Why, aye, man. Of course she can. She's a wee canny lass. My lass can wee standing up, man. When she was down in the Tyne the other week and it was foggy, I said, "Hey, lass, there's fog on the Tyne." And she said, "Get us a Greg's pasty."
I have seen the Greg's drive-thrus that just launched, so I'm very excited about Greg's at the moment. But we are not here to talk about Greg's. We are here to record.
Why, aye, man, I want to call you to fucking task, you canny bastard. You constantly call me out for having a round fucking head. I'm telling you, it's more like a fucking white marble than anything else, you bastard.
Well, to be fair, Lee, I can see you on the video today, and I would say, as much as I have said before, you are a round-headed buffoon. It is more oval shape. Some might say eggy, I suppose. So maybe I had been wrong. And yes, take me to task, because I'm a man that when I've been wrong, I can admit that. And, I will take it back. You are not a round-headed buffoon. You are a more oval-shaped headed buffoon. I think that's pretty reasonable. But we start off every podcast in the same kind of way, and that is with what is everybody drinking. So I'm going to ask Craig first of all, what are you drinking, Craig?
All right, mate. I am drinking.
Hang on a second.
What?
Something happened to your voice in the last few minutes, Craig, because you sound a little bit different than you did a couple of minutes ago.
My balls have dropped.
Fair play.
I am drinking a S.T.R.I.K.E. all the way from Barcelona.
Yeah, hang on a second. Is it though? Did that bottle actually come from Barcelona?
Yes, in my anus.
One of those shows. In that case, the real Lee, what are you drinking?
Why, aye, man. I'm actually drinking. Now, Craig hadn't heard of this, talked about it later, and I'm hoping you will, Nick, see as though this is one of your drinks of choice, kind of, as a different twist. I'm actually drinking Pepsi Max Ginger.
You know what? I have seen Pepsi Max Ginger because I almost picked it up thinking it was caffeine-free because it's got a gold colour label. Yeah. But what's it like? I'm not a massive fan of ginger, so not the race. I quite like ginger people.
Gingers generally stink of piss. So does Pepsi Max Ginger taste of piss?
No, it doesn't taste of piss. It doesn't smell of piss either. I like it.
Okay, I've only seen it in the big bottles, and that's what's put me off buying it. If I see it in one of the smaller bottles or a can, I'll give it a go.
You can get it in cans and smaller bottles. Very
good. I am drinking, as Craig will attest, because we're doing some video for some strange reason, a bottle of Coors Light, because I had a barbecue last week, and that was the cheapest beer in the supermarket. So, you know me, I like a cheap beer. And also,
I'll preface this show tonight by saying I don't drink. I am not drinking, so everything that happens to come out of my mouth is the God's honest truth and not the drink talking.
We don't need a drink to make us do that either, but that's very nice of you to say.
No, you might regret that statement later.
I probably will. So, Craig, you had an idea about what you wanted to do for this show, this week's episode.
Well, we're talking the DC cinematic universe to date, basically,
Yep.
with a bit of a talk about Wonder Woman and going over the other films briefly, because they divide so many people. Get people so angry.
They don't literally divide people. They don't cut them in half. That's
Yeah.
what's going on. Speaking of Wonder Woman,
Exactly.
she's behind me, as you can probably see.
Wonder Woman! Peace out, suckers!
This is what
She
happens.
can't eat it, daft bugger.
No. It's probably for the best.
Oh.
She doesn't want to hear like some scouser talk a load of nonsense. So
Nick, are you Harry Potter? Are you actually recording from the cupboard under the stairs?
that is my bedroom. This is the kitchen. This is where all the party stuff happens. Obviously, the kitchen. So yes, divisive films. So how do you want to play this? Because obviously we're doing this because of Wonder Woman that's just come out.
Yeah.
So is that what you wanted to lead with, or
Yeah, definitely, because then everyone can turn off after that.
you think it's
I
that
don't think so.
popular?
No, trust me, that's when it'll get interesting.
Right, well, I'm the last person to see Wonder Woman.
Well, you're not.
We've all-
Lots of people still haven't seen Wonder Woman. You're the
Not
last
on the-
person on the podcast to see Wonder Woman.
Okay, yeah. Not on the planet. I'm sure there's a little tribe in Africa who are like that. Wonder who? But
Yeah, yeah, that's the kind of thing to say.
I've got to say, right, I absolutely adored the movie. Everything about it, from start to finish, it just blew me away. Blew me socks off. I grinned from ear to ear.
Now, I'd just like to point out before Lee even interjects, Craig said very similar about Maleficent, a film that, universally we can agree was shit. So,
No.
don't worry, you haven't missed anything, Lee. You really haven't.
It's Disney. I don't do Disney.
That'll be on his headstone. Okay. but I mean, going into it, Craig, was you really looking forward to Wonder Woman? Had the reviews hyped you up a little bit? Like, what was your headspace going in?
I'd listened to real fans and Andy DiGenova. Hey, my name is Andy DiGenova. And when
Craig, it doesn't work when you try and turn it on when it's just not off the cuff.
I was just doing it then.
Yeah, it wasn't right.
Okay, because I was naked. But I'd listened to him and he was getting proper hyped for it. The same way he'd been proper hyped for Pirates of the Caribbean 5. And then I'd heard him just rip the piss out of Pirates, saying how poor it was.
What a knob.
Leave him alone.
People are entitled to their own opinion. I enjoyed that movie as well, right? So I don't know, there might be something wrong with me. So I was going into Wonder Woman.
No, there is, yeah.
Extremely excited about it. And I sort of, because I did Lee's comments about it, where he was just like meh about it.
I don't need to be on here now. Craig's going to tell everyone what I thought of it.
No, I'm not. My expectations were sort of up and down. I didn't know what it was going to be like. But, sitting in that picture house, watching that film, and looking to the left and right and seeing me girls idolising a real superhero, not like a shitty kung fu woman who wears black lycra. It was fucking majestic, mate. I loved everything about it.
Just on that point, just to let all our American listeners know that when Craig says picture house, that's not because he's posh, because he's really not posh. That's the name of a chain of cinemas in the UK.
Oh, right. I was thinking it was because he was really, really old.
Yeah, they actually, there was no sound in Craig's version of Wonder Woman. There was just a guy on the piano right at the front, tinkling the ivories in time.
A Hammond organ.
Yeah, and there was some like cue cards that came up with words in between scenes. Yeah.
Carry on, bitches. I'll show you some organs.
Hey, they should do that. It's one of the ones they haven't.
Organs?
Carry on, bitches.
How many have you got, like?
2.
Yeah, we know where the other one is.
In my ass.
Right. Okay. So Craig was very excited going into it. Now, Lee, for people that know Lee, will know that Lee has been very vocal, I'd say, about the DC universe, and interject where you want to. But I think it's fair to say that your opinion of the DC movie universe so far has been probably more favourable than the majority of people.
I am a huge fan of the direction of the DC film series at the moment. I went into Wonder Woman very excited, I'll be honest. Normally we won't go to the cinema to see stuff opening day because my wife hates people. So I really, really pushed because I'd talked to, funny enough, you mentioned real fans, Jamie. I can't think what his surname is. Sorry, Jamie, if you're listening. I know you won't be, but whatever.
No one listens to this podcast.
What is he called?
Is he the fella who says in the start, "No one told us he could fly"?
Oh, that's Leroy.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, Jamie. I should know. I am friends with him and I talk to him quite regularly. Anyway,
Has
Jamie...
he got a magic torch?
No. That's funny. That might come in later, actually. But yeah, he went. I mean, he's been about 6 times to see it at this point,
What?
and he was, yeah. He's bought something like 38 tickets for it in total.
Fucking hell.
Well, I've heard that there's a cinema chain. I can't remember what cinema chain it is, but there's a chain in America that's actually sold a season pass to Wonder Woman.
Really?
And they did the same for Star Wars: The Force Awakens. And I think it's about, off the top of my head, I want to say it's about $70, and you can go and see it as many times as you want. It could be more, but once the film comes out, you can watch it as many times a day for its entire duration, as often as you want. You should have bought one of those season passes instead.
Yeah.
That's good, that.
So I went in really, really excited. I pushed Tracy to go opening weekend. So the 4 of us, me and the 2 kids, went, and I came out of it. It was okay.
Craig, can you do an impression of Tracy being persuaded to go opening day?
Why, aye, man, I'm not going into a cinema where people can wee on the toilets and leave a little wee on the seat, man.
It's a good job she doesn't listen to this.
I'll only go into a cinema, man, if it's fucking empty.
I'd like her to, just for the next time that she sees Craig.
Whenever there's any ribbon going on, I always play it for her.
Why, aye, man?
So,
Lee, I want you to put a little hole in the popcorn so I can pull your plonker while I'm eating me salted popcorn.
Unfortunately, that's never happened. She doesn't like popcorn.
Oh, wonderful. Schoolboy error.
Dick in a box. So,
although I must say, are we going spoilers on this when we talk about it or not?
Yeah.
you know what? I think it's been out enough weeks now that we can talk spoilers.
Spoiler.
I decided 6 months ago that I was sick of the amount of trailers that were rammed down your throat and going into every film knowing half of it. So I am on a complete blackout. If I go to the cinema to see something and the trailer comes on, I will watch it. If it happens to be on the TV and I'm sat in front of it, I will watch it. But the days of me sitting down on YouTube and watching stuff, the day it comes out hundreds of times are gone because I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
And I think I'd seen 2 trailers for Wonder Woman at that point before going in. So the fact that they hid the twist at the end with Ares was good. I did not see that coming.
I don't think they need to spoil it because I saw it coming a mile away. And it wasn't in a trailer. It wasn't in a trailer. But
I'm obviously quite naive then because I didn't see that.
I don't think it is. I just think I'll come to why I think it was obvious in a little bit. But I'm like you, Lee, in that I've got really sick of trailers, and as I mentioned before on this podcast, I've stopped playing with balls, Craig. I have got a Cineworld Unlimited pass. Other chains are available, and so I go and see quite a lot of films now, which means I have to sit through a lot of trailers. But I switch off. I will just look at my phone, or I will time it so I try and get in just as the film's about to start, rather than have to sit through the trailers. And I used to love trailers, but like you, so many films are spoilt now by trailers. You see a film and you think you've seen it because you've seen the trailer for it.
Because the trailer's a mini movie now.
Yeah, they show far too much.
Yeah,
far too
I
much.
sat in the cinema when we went to see, I can't remember what it was, last year, and the trailer for
classic then, was it? Yeah, classic.
So BVS, I don't know what it was. The trailer for BVS, come on. Eyes closed, fingers in ears, singing at the top of my voice. Tracy's beating hell out of me for making too much noise, but I don't want to see any more of it. Gone are the days where you can walk into a cinema now and watch a film knowing barely anything about it.
Absolutely. I saw 25 minutes worth of trailers when I saw Beauty and the Beast opening day.
Wow.
And that was a kids' film at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So, all the kids that were there were getting really frustrated as well. 25 minutes of trailers, just ridiculous.
Spider-Man's been ruined for me at this point.
Because? Too many trailers?
Because too many trailers.
I don't even think it's the trailers now. I think they released that many posters of stuff. The posters give things away as well.
And also, I think the other problem they have is, Batman Superman, I think I saw the first trailer for that 7-8 months before it came out.
Yeah.
Now, they do that with Star Wars, and Star Wars has always kind of been a bit like that, but no disrespect, not every film is Star Wars, and not every film needs that treatment. And when you give that treatment to every film, it dilutes it, dilutes the impact of it. And
but Star Wars doesn't need it.
I'm not watching any Star Wars.
You could literally put the black screen, Star Wars, Episode 9, and that's all you need to do. People don't, because they know what it is. You don't need to show 5 minutes of it.
No. But this is what I mean. I remember showing my wife the trailer for Fast and Furious.
I hate that catchphrase, by the way, and I tell Craig every time.
Oh, good. No, I mean, it is ironic. I mean, it is supposed to be... Yeah, no one is supposed to like it. I don't like it. That's the whole point of it. Everyone's supposed to hate it.
Oh, well, I like it then.
But I showed her the trailer for Fast and Furious 8 when that came out for the Super Bowl. And I was like, look at this. How can you tell me you wouldn't want to see a film with that? And she said, but the problem is, I feel like I've seen the film. Because I've seen all the big action sequences. And there's not going to be anything else. And sure enough, you go and see the film, all the major action sequences were in that 3-minute trailer. So, you know...
Hey, Baywatch is apparently the same. The trailer actually makes it look quite funny. Apparently, they are literally the only funny bits in it.
I wanted to go and see Baywatch until people who saw it was like, you know that trailer you saw that you liked? That's the funny bit. I was like, oh, okay. So, yeah, it can have the opposite effects as well.
Why getting back to Wonder Woman, Lee? Why were you only okay with it?
It's funny. I was listening to Real Fans the other day, and they were talking about they did a Wonder Woman Q&A. I know they're getting the biggest plugs. I've plugged Real Fans more than I've plugged my own bleed podcast on here so far. And they said because it's much more. If you look at what Man of Steel was and what BVS were, they were very different from your normal comic book movies. Whereas Wonder Woman is that typical origin story. It starts off, she's on Themyscira, she then goes into there, and then you've got the No Man's Land scene, the big action scene in the middle, and then the final third, the big battle with Ares. It's a very by-the-numbers comic book movie. Whereas I think when you look at something like Man of Steel and BVS, like him or loathe him, they're very much Zack Snyder's vision, whereas Wonder Woman wasn't. And personally, I like Zack Snyder's style.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very hit and miss because I like Watchmen, which a lot of people hate.
I do. I love Watchmen.
But I hated... He's good.
Oh, Craig.
He's good,
watch
Craig.
It.
Yeah.
Rorschach is one of the greatest super... Whatever you want to call him. He's neither a villain nor a hero, but one of the greatest super characters ever committed to film, in my opinion.
Yeah. I like everyone. I think the style of it suits very well. I wasn't bothered about 300. I know it was a film that kind of made him famous, and I hated with a passion Sucker Punch. Hated it.
I need to see it again. We went to a subtitled screening of it, not realising, and yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, I mean, visually, it's a beautiful film, but story-wise, it was just all over the place. It was clearly, they were just like, look, you've had a few hits, you know, do what you want kind of thing, and you made something that really nice, but it just felt empty. But I've been quite vocal in not being a fan so much of this Zack Snyder DC universe. I've actually not been able to. I've not sat through an entire film. I couldn't see what. Yeah, Craig's by watching. I couldn't see. I didn't sit through all the Man of Steel. I didn't sit through all the Batman vs Superman. I should do at some point, but I just found it so hard to watch. I couldn't do it. Suicide Squad I haven't got round to yet, but I do actually want to see that. And it's on Sky now, so I probably will watch it.
Right, Nick, let me jump in. When you go to watch BVS again, you need to watch the extended cut.
Yeah. I've heard the director's cut does make things a bit better.
It doesn't make any sense. You'll realise when you watch the director's cut, one particular character's involvement in the entire story of that film changes completely with the extended cut. You understand why Batman and Superman have to face off in the end a lot more. It makes a lot more sense.
And it's not because their mums have got the same name. Okay.
No. And you know what? Someone asked me the other day, because I've had this argument so many times, that I personally, BVS is my favourite comic book film of all time. I'll come out and say it now. I love that film.
That's okay,
I adore that film.
Craig likes the original Star Wars, the original 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars. So
I don't mind them, to be quite honest.
Oh, God.
Me and Craig see very much eye to eye on a lot of things. I don't mind them. I don't think they're as bad. Craig will sit there and he says, I don't get it. Yes, they're not great, but they're not that bad.
I've watched them several times. The
CG's terrible, I'll give you that.
The CG's terrible, and the story could have been condensed down into potentially 2 films.
Episode 1 doesn't need to exist at all.
Episode 1 doesn't need to exist. It could have been done in the flashback sequences.
Yeah, Darth Maul's a wasted villain.
Darth Maul, yeah, because when you look at Darth Vader,
he's an arsehole, apparently, Ray Parks as well.
There you go.
That's the opinion of Lee.
No, it's not. It's an opinion of a few people I've heard from about him.
Okay. I just in case he wants to guest on this podcast, that's all.
Hold your breath.
No, I won't hold my breath. But no, I've got to be honest. When I went to see, although my experience of the DC universe is very mixed, as I've just said, I went into Wonder Woman expecting to really enjoy it. I'd seen one trailer, I think. I don't think I've seen all the trailers. I think I've seen one and thought that looks pretty damn good. There was some early buzz. I mean, it came out the same day as America, so there was only early buzz about it. But, generally people getting really hyped about it. And I think I saw it a few days after it first came out. And I'm with Lee. I was disappointed in how much I didn't love it. I liked it, and I expected more. And I was very surprised that I didn't enjoy it more. And there were certain bits in the film that I did. I think the opening sequence when the Germans invade the island is really good. I think it's filmed really well. I think that's all really good. There are a few plot holes. For example, someone pointed out why on an island full of women do they have a lasso trope? What's the need for one of those? Which is a fair point.
Has it always been Has it always been just an island of women?
Yeah.
Or is it just then? It's always been. So where have them women come from?
Well, I thought the whole idea was that they were kind of moulded from Zeus.
No, I think that was only Diana, wasn't it?
Really? I mean, you could be right. I don't know.
I must admit that Wonder Woman, I don't know a lot of the mythology and backstory of her.
I know Linda Carter's version, and that's about it, really. I never read the comic books. But
where did he get all their sanitary products from? Did he just use the back of a sheep?
Don't need to.
They didn't see sheep there. They might not have them.
It's all women. Don't need it.
God, to be slipping over all the time.
I actually also as well want to give props to Chris Pine because I thought he was really good. I only really know him from Star Trek.
Yeah,
I don't. He's okay in those films, but I thought he was really good in this film. In fact, I thought all the supporting cast was good. I just think
Ewan Bremner annoys me.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with my friend the other night that he's spud, isn't he?
In everything.
Yeah, and even with that, he was somebody that couldn't do what he wanted to do anymore because of the stress, and he was kind of. And yeah, it was just like he just plays himself, which is a bit of a shame. But he was the weak link, I think. I mean, I love the Moroccan guy. The Native American guy was
Sam.
Yeah, the Native American guy was okay for what he did as the big heavy, but I just there was things that really annoyed me. I think the bit that annoyed me the most was the No Man's Land bit.
Really?
Why?
Because I think it's disrespectful. That's why. Because it's something
to who? The Germans?
No, to the people that actually gave their lives to that war. You've basically changed history for the facts of a comic book film. And
Have you ever watched Inglourious Bastards?
Yeah,
they kill Hitler in a movie theatre at the end of that.
But that's a parody. As far as I'm concerned, that's a parody. That whole, Inglourious Bastards doesn't follow the actual Second World War. It uses things loosely based around it.
In fairness, so does that.
But No Man's Land, I think, is such a big thing, and to have,
Yeah, but she didn't win the First World War. She just won a battle that happened.
Doesn't matter. It wasn't a battle. It's not like the battle of Class 6 versus Class 7 in the football at school lunchtime. This was a major battle.
No Man's Land wasn't a playing field. It stretched for freaking miles and miles and miles. She only broke through one bit of it.
Doesn't matter. They'd made the point that in 3 years or whatever, they hadn't made any movement, hadn't even moved an inch.
What about Private Ryan?
It's only a film, don't you? It's not real.
I thought it was a documentary.
No, it's not.
No, but my thing
I see your point.
It's the same with a lot of films, though. I mean, this isn't just a Wonder Woman thing, but you know,
start to worry, right, if she turns up in Dunkirk.
Well, it's a Warner Brothers release, isn't it? So there's every chance. But you know, when you make a film about a real life subject, I get there's going to be some creative license. I just think with that, there's creative license and there's getting superheroes involved with real life events, and I don't think that is particularly respectful. At the same time, I can admire for how brilliant it was and how well it was done, because you know, as it was filmed, it was a fantastic looking sequence.
Yeah.
But it just unnerved me a little bit.
No, I understand you, Craig, Nick, because if you let's look at Captain America, right? Because let's be honest, Captain America and Wonder Woman are virtually polar opposites. So one's Marvel's version and one's DC's version.
One's World War II, but yeah.
The first Avenger doesn't take place during a real conflict. So I see your point. Yeah, they've played it safe, but then that's Marvel all over. Let's play it safe, and I think DC do tend to take a bit more. Well, they do take more risks.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. And to be honest, I think it's going to be a small minority of people that will feel that way. There's not been like a massive campaign about it or anything, but it was just one of those things that got me. But the thing that probably annoyed me even more than that is, and you mentioned earlier, Ares, is that final battle, because until that point, so 2/3 of Wonder Woman, it felt like a different film. Sure, there were bits of it that you could say were a bit similar to Captain America, especially, but it felt like a little bit of a fresh take, mainly because you know, it was a woman lead. I don't know, but it just felt a bit fresher than a lot of superheroes films have done, you know, recently, and that's DC and Marvel. And then you basically got your CGI villain fight, and as soon as that happened, it just turned into generic superhero movie.
I had no issue with that, because that's how it was always going to end up.
I was hoping it wouldn't. I was hoping it would be better than that. I was hoping it would follow this path of trying to be a bit different, and it just
play chess or something.
I don't see how else they could have ended it, really.
You have to do superhero shit at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's doing superhero shit, and there's just there's in the dark CGI fight between a supervillain and a superhero, and that's it. And it's just, every film is like it. DC's worse for it. I will say that. Like,
what?
For the nighttime superhero fight, not the superhero fight. That's always done, but DC seem to have that happen more at night. Marvel, it's normally more.
Yeah, because it's awesome.
No, because then you can't see everything.
Who cares? I'm obviously a miserable bastard because I love dark and gritty.
Yeah, but DC's dark and gritty anyway.
Yeah, it's not the dark
exactly.
And gritty. It's not the dark and gritty though. I'm talking about purely the light. It's like why I don't like Transformers films.
No, that's because they're shit.
Yeah, but my main thing with those is that everything happens so fast, you may as well just be watching a computer game. Like, you
trust me, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen fast enough.
No, those films do drag on. Those films do drag on.
I couldn't even make it through the fourth one. My youngest daughter, my daughter went to see that. She's like, "Oh my god, you have to watch it! It's the best film ever." It was her favourite film, and this is what she does. Every film she sees is her favourite film.
Sounds like crazy.
So Tracy was out, and I got an hour into it. I fell asleep. I woke up. There was still an hour and 10 minutes left. I said, I can't finish it. And I am, as we'll get into our later topic of conversation, the biggest Transformers fan.
Okay, so yeah, for you that's a big thing. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so I was just left that I had, and maybe because my expectations were quite high for Wonder Woman, I was just a little bit disappointed with how it ended up. And thought I
have been told. When I commented on that in a game, I've just remembered his name, Jamie Drewley. Jamie said to me, "Watch it again." He's seen it 5. I think I said, did I say 6 times now? And he said every time he watched it, it has got better. And I agree. I think Craig, me and you had this conversation the other day that every time I've watched Man of Steel or BVS or even Suicide Squad, it has got better for me every time. I've seen BVS 8 times now, and we watched it as a family again last weekend. Actually, not last week, 2 weeks in, before we went to see Wonder Woman, and I enjoyed it more after the 8th time than I did the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th time.
Do you know what I think, though? It could be the reasons why, because I've been thinking about this myself, because there's a few films recently that I've seen that I've been disappointed, and when I've gone back and watched them a second time, I've enjoyed it more. And I think sometimes, this is for me, and maybe for other people as well, but I think my expectations are so high sometimes for things that it cannot live up to what I'm expecting it to be. Whether I've seen the trailer or not, my expectations are so high that it's going to let me down. And once you've seen the film for the first time, you kind of understand its beats. And then when you watch it again, you've already got an idea of what's happening, and you can enjoy it in a different way. Because
you watch it, the first time you watch it, you're watching it trying to take everything in. The second time, your expectations have gone because you know what's coming, and you watch it for what it is, not what you expect it to be.
Yeah. That's the nail I'm trying to hit. Yeah.
Craig, do you listen to Coaster Radio?
I used to.
The word they coined was anticipantment.
Yes, definitely.
It's a good word. I like it.
But yes, I agree. I've seen, I'm a massive Quentin Tarantino fan, but I can't remember walking out of any of those films overly oh my God, it was fantastic. It's the second viewing that's got me hyped for each one. Apart from maybe Inglourious Basterds.
I was going to say, funny enough, the only Tarantino film that I've done that with, probably, was either Kill Bill Volume 1 or Inglourious Basterds. Every other one I've really enjoyed, but it's been on repeat viewings that I've really learned to love it. Although The Hateful Eight, I don't think I'll ever enjoy that.
Oh my God. I enjoyed that much more the second time than I did. I enjoyed it the first time. Second time viewing so much better.
Okay, because it just seems to drag.
I love that film. It is a very long film. He has got very over self-indulgent lately.
Yeah.
But he can do no wrong in my eyes.
I didn't hate it, but after Django and after Inglourious Basterds, I did feel it was a bit of a, as you say, a bit indulgent. But
if you like that sort of thing, which, like I say, he can do no wrong for me, so I love it. The more the better.
Mm.
I've only seen the first 10 minutes of it.
Oh, it's brilliant.
And I love cowboy films, and I love Tarantino. I just haven't got round to sitting down in my underpants with a packet of butter and watching it.
You do need a 3-hour stint to watch it, though.
Kurt Russell is fantastic in it.
I don't think there's anyone bad in it. Who's the... is it Walter Sproggins? What's his name?
Oh, yeah. Him that was in Django as well.
Yeah. He was brilliant.
New sheriff. Yeah.
I don't really think there was a bad time, except probably Tim Roth. Because
really, my issue is Channing Tatum. He didn't fit in there.
Yeah, he did feel a bit shoehorned in. But my only thing with Tim Roth, I like Tim Roth, but Tim Roth is Tim Roth. You know, like accent-wise and everything, he's always Tim Roth.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, I don't hate him. I just think of a very good cast, he was probably my weakest element, other than possibly Channing Tatum. Anyway, Tarantino talk. So, after watching Wonder Woman, how do we feel about the DC universe? Because there's been a lot of talk about Justice League and how they've tried to change the tone of Justice League based on the last few films. And then, of course, because unfortunately of Zack Snyder's personal situations, it's going into reshoots with Josh Whedon, isn't it? He's taking over for that.
Yeah, and if you read certain tweets, he's reshooting a hell of a lot of it, which worries me.
To be honest, I wouldn't worry too much, because this is exactly what happened with Rogue One, although not as public. But they brought someone in to...
Sorry, Nick, didn't like it.
Really? I've got to be honest, the first time I watched it, I wasn't convinced. The second time, I really enjoyed it.
Right, I'll give you my biggest issue with it. I never connected to the main character.
Yeah, but
she was a non-entity.
Yeah.
She had to be a non-entity because she's dead.
Yeah, but you still need to have a character that you can root for.
You had to care.
And I didn't.
Yeah, and if you don't care... But then that's the same with a lot of films. Like, I love Scott Pilgrim.
I've never seen it.
I need to watch it.
You haven't seen anything, Craig.
My co-host Hunter always raves. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is his favourite film, and we've watched it once. And I sat there at the end of it and went, "Did I miss something?" I have it on Blu-ray downstairs. I will watch it again.
Yeah, I think the problem with Scott Pilgrim, and this does play a little bit into me is I think it definitely depends on your age and how you relate to it.
You have a huge hard-on for Edgar Wright, though, don't you?
I do have a huge hard-on for Edgar Wright, but at the same time, I don't think The World's End was that good.
Oh, no, I thought that was fantastic.
Oh, really? I think that was his weakest.
Oh, I've literally
you put
never
those
seen
Nick
it.
Frost.
Because you haven't seen it, Craig! You've not seen anything!
Craig, what do you do with your life? I'm sorry, but if you put Simon Pegg, Nick Frost and Edgar Wright together, you're not going to make a bad film. And I think Shaun of the Dead's my favourite. Then
Edgar Wright's just been on Thingy podcast, hadn't he? What's his face? Thingy's podcast.
Oh, yeah. Thingy, that guy.
Fucking hell, Nick. That podcast you got me into.
Oh, Scroobius Pip.
No, the other one.
Buxton.
The good one. Buxton.
Yeah, I heard him with Dr. Buckles. True story, I got offered the chance to be a zombie in Shaun of the Dead, and I decided to go to my university class that day.
They said it was too realistic.
No. There was a space forum, and they put a thing out saying if you're a fan and you want to come down for a couple of days' work on the set of our new film, come down, we'll dress you up as a zombie. And I was like, oh, should I go? And I thought, oh no, I better go and do my classes like a dick. So I could have been in Shaun of the Dead as an extra.
Said, go on then, Nick, and he went, I'll do it on the night, man.
I don't need the makeup.
This is the night.
I do like Edgar Wright a lot, but I think with Scott Pilgrim, you either got it or you didn't, and you either love it or you don't, and that's fine. I'm not going to argue with anyone that says that it's not enjoyable or don't like it, because I think it very much depends on how you are with the references and how you can relate to the character. And Scott Pilgrim is a character you either understand and accept or you loathe, and if you loathe him, he's the main character. You're not going to enjoy the film.
Me and Lee.
With Michael Cera, he is another one that he is himself in everything he's in.
But he's excellent in Arrested Development for that reason.
Never watched it.
Arrested Development is one of the greatest shows ever. Honestly,
I think I've tried to. No, it's not. The greatest show ever is always Sunny in Philadelphia.
See, I couldn't get into it. I
love it.
Four episodes.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Didn't like any of them.
Craig, you would love it. You would love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
It's
on Netflix.
Wait, Sunny in Philadelphia. Okay, I've got it.
Charlie Day is a bit my man crush. I just think he's so funny. And
I like him in most films, actually, Charlie Day.
It's got a TV series.
Yeah, and it's on Netflix, and I think they're all on there.
Yeah,
it's not a movie.
No, it's a series.
It's brilliant. I literally watched 11 seasons in about a week and a half, 3 weeks ago.
Oh, blimey. But so the point I was making, going back to what I was saying earlier, was so the reshoots, don't be too disturbed by the reshoots, because it may not be as bad as it sounds. At the end of the day, the finished product is what's important. And as we've just seen this week with Star Wars and them sacking off Lord and Miller from the Han Solo film, with it about 80% filmed.
He's brought in Fonzie's, mate, haven't he?
Hey! Chick Cunningham!
I'm just worried that everyone complained that Man of Steel and BVS lacked humour. And that's the way a lot more. And I'm a miserable bastard, right? I don't like it being in there for the sake of it. The Marvel stuff, as a rule, it's all right. I think that's why I prefer the Captain America films over all the others, because it's a little bit more serious.
Even more than Guardians.
See, my problem with Guardians of the Galaxy, when I went to see the first one...
wind this up. There's no problem with Guardians.
Yeah, there is no problem with Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm interested in this.
My problem with Guardians of the Galaxy, I walked into that not expecting it to be a full-blown comedy, because to me, at that point, Chris Pratt was an unknown quantity. I didn't know who he was. So I walked in expecting it to be along the same lines as every other Marvel film, fairly serious, but with elements of humour in it. And I walked into a full-blown comedy and walked out going, what the fuck have I just watched? Watched it again, then knowing what it was, thoroughly enjoyed it. I'll be honest, the second one was fantastic. It's probably one of the better films I've seen at the cinema this year. But
it's the best.
It's not. But anyway.
Craig hasn't seen Get Out.
He hasn't seen anything, has he?
You saw that.
I forgot where I was going.
No, we talking about the comedy.
Everyone wants the DC universe to be like Marvel, and it's not.
It needs to be different.
Yeah.
Because if they did the same thing, everyone would just go, you just copy Marvel now.
Exactly.
Craig, I'm going to drop it. I'm going to drop the bombshell. Are you ready for it? Craig and I have had a big... Right? This is how much shite we talk when we're on the phone together.
Oh.
So everyone, the way the Marvel Universe is set up, it's sequential. So every film furthers the overall storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're the perfect person to listen to this, Nick, as well. So for us, the way DC are doing it's entirely different. It's not a sequential thing. It's, to give you a Magic Kingdom reference, it is a hub and spoke design.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
100%. Your hub is Batman v Superman. Everyone complained that film didn't make any sense. And as a rule, it doesn't. But I think once you get Wonder Woman, the Batman, the Flash, Justice League, Aquaman, that film is going to make a hell of a lot more sense, because I think that film, rather than answering questions, has asked a lot of questions that will get answered in the outlying films that are pulling together. So rather than being a sequential thing, that's the hub of your story, and everything else will draw into that. So, like, you've already, with the Flash,
you will go through. Yeah.
So when Bruce Wayne started his computer and the Flash comes through, Nick's died, he's gone, his camera's gone off, he's done with his script.
No, I'm still here. I've just turned my camera off. I was having some sound issues. I wonder if it was the cameras.
He's given us the fingers, that's why now.
No, not at all.
Stuff at us.
No.
He looks like he's lost weight anyway.
Yeah, in that picture I have, yeah.
You know, you've got the Flash coming back, so that's going to play in later on.
Mm.
And I think once those solo films come out, that film's going to make a lot more sense.
The Batman film is going to be the demise of Robin.
Yeah. You're going to find out what happened to Wayne Manor.
Yeah.
I would love nothing more than for you to be accurate. My problem is that I think the DC... The people behind DC Universe, I don't think they're as smart as you are.
The thing is,
if you were right...
One of the executive producers on those films is one of the greatest comic book writers of all time, in Jeff Johns. Surely he must have some input into it.
That doesn't mean anything.
It must do. It can't just have him there just to put his name on it.
Of course they can. What do you think Stan Lee's involvement is in the whole Marvel Universe?
In every film.
Yeah, but he has no input in them. He probably doesn't.
He owns the fucking thing that they're using.
Right. Well, no, he doesn't, does he? But and also he didn't create half of it. That's the other thing. But I think if you're right and that was their plan, I think it's genius. I think the problem that DC have got themselves in is they want to compete with Marvel. Obviously, that makes perfect sense. They've seen Marvel have got a successful business model.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but go on.
So you're telling me that DC do not want their films to be the massive hits that the Marvel films are?
If they did, then they would do cookie-cutter, flashy superhero films like that.
No, because, I'll tell you why, because The Dark Knight made money.
All the DC films have made money.
Yeah, but no, the point I'm making is The Dark Knight was the biggest film, the biggest superhero film ever, right? That film was dark. They continued, they did The Dark Knight Rises. The Green Lantern was a little bit of like Batman Light. It was, nowhere near as dark. It's not very good.
I've got it on the skybox downstairs. It will be getting watched.
Yeah, I mean, my dad was obsessed with the Green Lantern, so he had high expectations, but even he was like, yeah, it was okay. It wasn't good. But anyway, so I think what I mean is they're trying to compete financially in that they wanted these films to make money, but they wanted them to be a bit different. Now, what they've seen is their films start off big and drop off dramatically very quickly, and those films do not make as much money as the Marvel films. What they've seen is the Marvel films become very successful, and on top of that, seeing things like Deadpool, which is, a 15, and Logan, which was a hard 15, almost an 18 certificate film, more violent.
Can I just put in there, how the hell was Deadpool not an 18?
Same with Logan. I don't know how Logan wasn't an 18. Very graphic
Deadpool.
times. I enjoyed Logan. I love Deadpool, but it's at
I've not
point,
seen Logan.
Well, it's not coming.
I'll tell you the story. I won't tell you, Craig, right? But it's a bit of a tearjerker. So we sat there at the end. I won't tell you what happens, right? We sat there at the
That is so, Craig.
Tracy turns around to me and goes, I thought you said this was a I thought you said this was a tearjerker. I turn round, I've got snot running down my face, tears running down. It's like, what are you talking about?
Why, aye, man, you wee canny bastard.
She's a hard-hearted bitch, that one.
I won't tell her that. But
She's definitely not listening to this now.
Sorry,
Tracy.
I genuinely think that DC have lost their way in what they were trying to do, and they've started to chase the dollar rather than stick to their guns.
I think DC were potentially getting caught up in the trap of being reactionary and trying to...
Yeah, totally.
Trying to not blow it.
Yeah.
But I think Marvel is becoming tired, although the Guardians of the Galaxy is still smashing it.
Because it's different to everything else.
Everything else, to me, is dropping off. Civil War was good.
Yep. But
Civil War's my favourite, I'll be honest. I thought it was fantastic.
And I loved it, and it's my favourite film. Where I'm saying it's good, I mean, like, for the rest of the planet. Everyone else is getting just a little bit tired. You know, Marvel have got...
My biggest issue with the Marvel universe is all the superheroes are the same. No one has any... They're starting to bring it in a little bit with Doctor Strange and Ant-Man, but as a rule, Captain America, Thor, the Hulk, Iron Man, they're all very similar. They're strong, they can fly, and that's about it.
They've got green dicks.
Do you know what I mean, though? It's not like no one stands out with having any sort of special power that makes them different from anybody else, really.
Do you know when he turns back into a human, right, from the Hulk? Do you reckon his pants just fall off?
He's got his really stretchy lycra that can change shape, so it just shrinks back to normal size. My thing with the Marvel universe is the fact that because it's so tied in together, that it's very easy to get confused with what's going on. Like if you miss a film or something, then you're playing catch up. You're trying to work out how something ties into something else, and it just gets too confusing. There's just too much going on.
Age of Ultron was bogged down, but that's the worst one that was bogged down. We're trying to tell too many future stories without telling its own story.
Yeah, exactly, definitely.
Yeah.
Nick, a quick question for you.
Go for it.
Do we stand enough?
Will you shut up?
I don't know.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
You used to sit down to wait.
Yes, because it's better for your prostate. Do you know people in Africa, where people squat to pee, has 80% less prostate cancer than the rest of the world? Right, Nick.
I had a squatty potty.
I haven't. That's for having a poo. How do you feel about the Ang Lee Incredible Hulk movie?
I'll tell you how I feel about the Ang Lee Incredible Hulk movie. I've never watched it.
What?
Yeah. I basically heard so many people say to me, don't bother, it's rubbish, that I didn't. Now, I quite like the other Hulk movie.
It's terrible.
I know.
Right, I'll give you then. I will challenge you to watch the Eric Bana Hulk movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you now, I don't think you'll like it.
Oh, okay.
Because it's more DC, it's more in the style of a DC film, I think. Personally, there's a sequence in the middle I won't tell you about that's a bit ropey. But as a whole, I really like it because it's more of a grown-up comic book story, which is what I like about the DC. They don't try and dumb it down for kids. It's aimed at the people that grew up with these characters.
I actually I really like Ang Lee as a director, so I always wanted to see it. I just never got round to it, and it's one of those films that I have caught bits of when it's been shown on TV, but like the last 30 minutes or something. So it's like I won't bother actually watching that because I want to see the whole film. So that's the reason I'm not seeing it. But yeah, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Challenge accepted. Once I get round to watching it, I will let you know exactly how I feel about it.
Craig, have you seen it? Turn your microphone on, bell end.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
We'll cut that out in post.
No,
I doubt that. The not the last Hulk with Tim Roth and Edward Norton in it. The one before it with Eric Bana. And have you seen it?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
I can't remember.
Of course not. It was 15 years ago.
Is that the one where he's throwing tanks around?
Yes.
It was a superhero film. It was when superhero films were still finding their way in the world. It was a baby. It was ahead of its time.
How do you feel about the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy then, Nick?
I liked the first one.
Right.
I really liked the second one.
Because the second one was Sam Raimi actually got let go and did what Sam Raimi likes to do.
Correctamundo. And I absolutely hated the third.
Yeah, but why do you... Right.
Because the casting...
I
can't stand that. I can't stand Topher Grace.
Yeah, but why do you hate it? Do you hate it because the rest of the internet tells you to hate it?
I hated it, Craig, because I saw Spider-Man 3 opening night before I'd read any reviews. And I could tell it was a shit film. And then I got to see the reviews and thought, oh, I'm not the only one that thinks it. I was with 5 people, and of the 5 people I was with, 4 people hated it, and 1 person thought it was alright.
I quite like it. I just don't have a problem with it.
There's lots of problems with it. Venom, for a start.
Well, Venom shouldn't have been shoehorned in, maybe, but does he ruin the film?
Well, it's not that he ruins the film. It's the fact that the character is ruined. It's the opposite. You're looking at the question the wrong way round. It's not that the character was bad. It was that the film ruined that character. Didn't give the character the justice it deserved. It needed to be have its own film. The thing is, and I don't know where Lee is, but he will attest to this, is that the studio wanted Sam Raimi to do Venom as the main villain. That was the plan, Venom as the main villain. Sam Raimi didn't want to have Venom as the main villain because he doesn't like Venom. And so, therefore, it was shoehorned in. He didn't want him there at all.
So, I don't know enough about Spider-Man. Is Venom a villain or a nasty hero?
He's been both, but I would say really he's a villain more than he's an anti-hero.
And the upcoming Venom movie that has been announced, is that part of the MCU or standalone?
Apparently it is, but I don't know if they even know, to be honest.
Who's got the rights to it?
Sony.
So it's going to be shit then.
It depends on what happens with this deal, to be honest. No, let's be honest, Lee. I mean, they've got the Amazing Spider-Man 2 on this weekend on TV for like the first time.
I will not watch it.
Well, there you go.
Why?
Because the first one was god awful.
I watched it recently for the first time only because I bought it for £3 on 3D Blu-ray. So I was like, let's give this a go. And I thought Andrew Garfield was not
terrible.
And I didn't actually hate him as Peter Parker, but the rest of the film I thought was pretty poor.
Even Emma Stone didn't rescue that.
No, and I like Emma Stone as well.
Me too.
Which one's got the Electro Man in it?
The second one.
Second one's terrible.
2.
Oh, Jesus, no.
The film that killed the franchise. I think at that point Sony were going to be pretty close to giving those rights back to Marvel for Spider-Man because they knew they bullsed it up. I think this is...
The thing is, I think they finally got it right. I think what we've seen of Spider-Man in Civil War is probably, arguably, the best representation we've had of him in live action so far.
I think he's the best Spider-Man I've seen since Nicholas Hammond.
I don't even know who that is.
He was the Spider-Man in the 70s TV movies.
Oh, Jesus. How do you even know that? You weren't even alive in the 70s.
You know what? The worst thing is that I've not double-checked that, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. And how can I know that and not know important stuff? That's what bothers me, Lee, about my life.
I used to watch that when I was a kid.
Yeah. I did. I was in it.
I don't remember much about it. Craig's 10 years older than me, so he remembers a bit more.
You're a cheeky bastard.
Didn't he climb up the walls like Adam West did in Batman?
I don't remember.
That's how he climbed the walls, the buildings.
Yeah, he climbed up photographs, yeah.
What?
They were just big photographs he was climbing up.
Yeah, clever work.
He was crawling along the floor, basically. Genius.
I think it's about time they got Blade back in and had Blade in the MCU.
Well,
right, so come on, let's wrap up this DC.
Oh, Hellboy.
Just give your marks out of 100 for Wonder Woman.
D.
Bell end.
Marks out of 100 D. I will give Wonder Woman an 81.
I
think I gave it an 80 in our group chat, if I remember rightly.
Yeah. Didn't I say something silly like 95?
That would sound about right, Craig, yeah.
Yeah, to put that into context, I gave BVS a 95, Man of Steel a 90, and Suicide Squad a 70, I think.
Oh, really? Yeah, interesting.
Suicide Squad's a bit ropey, and it comes down to casting for me. Because that's not my Harley Quinn.
No, it's not our Harley Quinn.
She's not right for the part.
She looked all right to me.
She's not Harley Quinn though. Like my version of Harley Quinn, like what I'm familiar with, is from the Arkham games, and she didn't have the iconic like Brooklyn accent, like that really strong New York accent. She did kind of, but it kept dropping all the time. The costume, for all it showed her ass cheeks off a lot, it still wasn't Harley Quinn. I don't know.
It's a cracking set of tits.
I'm with you, Lee. I'm with you, Lee. I love the Arkham games.
Yeah.
And that's how I want to see my Harley Quinn.
Exactly.
Yeah. Joker, I can give or take.
To it. I'm coming round to it. I've seen it 3 times now, and it does get back. Every time I watch it, little things that pissed me off before sort of bleed away a little bit.
Don't you think it was a bit safe in respect that... Oh, I do. Do you know, like, the baddies in the cartoon versions of the superheroes are always robots or androids?
Yep.
Right? So, in Suicide Squad, they take human beings and turn them into...
Spoiler! Nick hasn't seen it yet.
Oh, okay. Whatever. I don't care.
No, don't spoil it. Don't be up. Care. Cut him off. Who's hosting this call? Craig, so unfortunately, we can't cut him off then.
Well, it doesn't really spoil anything, does it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to say.
The whole film.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. I don't care anymore.
And you're spoiling Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Came out a year ago. Get over it.
Doesn't matter. No, doesn't matter. You haven't seen it.
People haven't seen Wonder Woman.
You know Dumbledore.
We're just talking about spoilers.
My only point is, right, they don't... like in Superman...
Yeah, but you've seen it. This is the point. We're not trying to spoil it for you, Nick. I don't give a crap about anybody listening.
In Man of Steel, Superman kills 1 million people. 1 billion.
No, he doesn't. He kills one person.
He doesn't. 1 billion people died in that film.
Kills one person. There's not 1 billion people in Metropolis.
He does, because the world's bouncy thing is going up and down and destroying cities all over the fucking planet. Two cities. The one the top one's at and the one the bottom one's at. Yeah, exactly. So that's quite substantial.
Besides which,
he didn't do that.
That's the only countries you can see. There's not cameras in every country.
The tsunamis going left, right and centre.
Yeah, but he didn't do that.
Probably 3 billion people died. So no wonder he's a moody fucking emo teenager. 3 billion people died in that film. Yeah? In Batman vs Superman, it weighs heavy, and a lot of people die in Batman vs Superman. Suicide Squad, no one dies.
Yeah, they do. Slipknot does.
All right.
Sorry for the spoiler.
Fucking hell.
Peace a chance.
You've literally just said I can't say nothing about Suicide Squad, and the main part of the whole film you've just given away.
No, I haven't. You've just said nobody dies. Well, then if Nick's going to go in, well, there's no point watching this because no one's going to die, so there's no danger for anyone, so it's shit.
Apart from Slipknot.
He doesn't even know who Slipknot is.
I don't care for Slipknot. I know I wear masks.
So, you won't care for him anyway. He's only in it for about 3 seconds.
So look, we've talked about Wonder Woman. Everyone's going to see Wonder Woman. What I instead demand you do, because no one else will, is go and see Baby Driver instead. Don't worry about Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman
for it last night, it looks pretty decent.
Wonder Woman is, everyone's seen Wonder Woman. It's made its money back. You don't need to give that any more money. Baby Driver is like nothing else you've seen. That is where your money should be going. Baby Driver.
Is that the one with Spacey in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go against. I'm probably going to get some stick for this. I don't particularly like Kevin Spacey.
Whoa, you're a knobhead.
Kevin Spacey is one of those actors who's actually very good, but makes some very suspect choices.
I don't like him. The only thing I've ever really liked him in was Seven.
Usual Suspects?
House of Cards?
Don't remember. Never watched it.
That's because you're fucking shit.
Craig, you've seen 2 films. Don't slag me off for not watching one
one
program.
TV series, and then he's like, I haven't seen that. Watchmen, what's that? I've even read the comic book of Watchmen, so there you go.
Speaking of Watchmen as well, that's looking to be an HBO miniseries.
I have seen that, yes. Have you read the comic, Nick?
I've got the graphic novel, yeah.
Yeah. I was quite surprised because I hadn't seen the film for quite a while, and I read the graphic novel about 2 months ago. I was actually quite surprised how different the ending was.
Yeah, I can't remember. Well, I think the official reason for the ending being different is that they thought it would be too unrealistic in a film where Dr. Manhattan's about.
Yeah. I thought it was quite dark in the comic book, though, the way it finishes.
Yeah, it's a lot. It is slightly darker, but yeah. I mean, I still people don't like Watchmen, and people say it was unfilmable. I think that film proved it was. Was the comic book better? Yeah, but then that's quite often the same with any adaptation.
Was it really? There's not an awful lot different in it.
I don't think. I think they took everything that was essential, and that was in the film, and stuff that they left out was left out for a reason. Well, 2 reasons. One, for timing. Secondly, because it didn't.
So now you're telling me not to watch Watchmen?
No, absolutely watch it. Yeah.
It's the cast that makes it.
No, what we're saying is, Craig, is that people will turn around and say it was unfilmable.
It's Dustin Hoffman, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I know, but maybe that's why Craig's going to watch it. I don't know.
Do you watch Walking Dead, Craig?
Yeah.
Negan's in it.
Is he?
Yeah.
And he plays a right bastard. Like an absolute bastard.
He played Negan before Negan.
Oh, yeah. He's brilliant, and I like him anyway.
Right,
that takes us into BVS a little bit, actually. So there's lots of people saying it could be quite interesting that they got him, I can't remember his name at the moment, to play Thomas Wayne, because apparently Thomas Wayne ends up becoming Batman. No, he doesn't, because he's dead. What are you on about, you dickhead? Ignore me.
Henry, you're talking about Harry Dean Stanton? No, not Harry Dean Stanton. Jeffrey D.
Morgan.
I knew it was in the first 3 names.
I've no fucking idea what I'm talking about now.
He's the fucking sober one.
Yeah. Right, Craig, you had another topic you wanted us to talk about, even though we're massively running over.
Well, we're not.
There's a time limit for this thing.
No, there's no time limit.
It's when my wife tells me to get fucking...
that's my time limit.
I set you a task to go back in time and pick out sound effects. We'll put some sound effects in post, and I wanted you to pick out 3 80s cartoons that you grew up with.
Oh, Scouts with that cartoons,
right? So you top in what? In order, in reversible order. So we start
reversible order. If it's a reversible order, that means your number 3 could be your number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't fucking know.
You mean reverse order, Craig?
Do I?
Number 3.
Yeah.
Going up. Now, I like everything, I do no preparation, so even though I saw this, I ignored it. So, Craig, is there a time limit on this? Like, there a year that we have to, can go up to, or?
Well, it's 80s cartoons. What year were you born?
He said your childhood. Nick wasn't alive in the 80s.
That was Spain.
Unfortunately, I was 83.
He was a ball of jizz before then.
Yeah, I was 3 years of the 80s.
All right, well,
if it's 80s, that's fine. I can do 80s.
No. Let's be fair. Your childhood cartoon, so 80s stroke 90s. Because I stopped watching cartoons in the 90s because I was a man.
Because he was watching porn.
Because I was watching.
Well, he probably did watch Jungle Burger.
Horses, fillet sheep,
right,
and dogs.
So, as Lee is the guest, he can go first with his number 3.
Right, I'm going to throw one out, and I bet neither. I said this to Craig earlier when we were talking about this. I bet no one's ever even heard of it. It was called The New Shmoo.
What?
The New Shmoo.
The New Shmoo.
Anybody?
No.
It was a strange white blob And as a kid, I honestly at this point don't remember an awful lot about it, but I used to be able to do an impression of it. I had this weird, dodgy voice, and as a kid, I could do a pretty decent impression of it. But no one's ever heard of it. I can't do it now. My balls have dropped.
The new
it's like a white, looks like to quote Craig, a ball of jizz.
It fucking does. 1979. This come out.
Oh, is it?
Still counts. You was watching it in the 80s.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Craig.
It is a ball of jizz. Or we can transform into anything. It's like Scooby-Doo.
I don't remember an awful lot about it, but I remember really liking it when I was a kid.
Fair enough.
I have just seen that intro there, and I've got vague memories of that. You can turn into anything he wants, basically.
Yeah.
So a fire escape, a pogo stick.
A pongo stick?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the dogs in 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah. I can't remember my 3 that I picked. Oh, for fuck's sake.
We're doing them all in order, or are we just rattling them out each?
You do your 3 if you want, while I'm looking for mine.
Just before we get in this, the last one needs a...
Audio cue.
There you go. It's just because it wasn't one of my favourites, but I did watch it a lot, and it's just because we've been talking about it at work the last couple of days that I need to bring it up was He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
What a ridiculous title.
Oh.
He-Man. It's like him calling him Man. He is a man, we know. Did no one else figure out, look at it and go, why is he called He-Man?
I believe the Geordie version was called Man. I think He-Man has dated probably more than any other 80s cartoon.
Why was She-Ran not called She-Woman?
Exactly. Sexism.
Oh, I loved him.
I always wanted the toys, but I never got any.
See, I was at the right age. That's the thing for me. I was at the right age for this stuff, so I had a lot of He-Man toys.
Oh no, it was because I wasn't old enough or too old or whatever. It's my mum and dad wouldn't buy me them.
But like if you watch it now, like there are certain cartoons you can go back and watch now, and I'm going to mention one in a minute, that still stand up to the test of time. But there are other cartoons that you think, my God, why did we think this was good? Because it's terrible. The animation's not very good. The storylines are just dire. And
well, I think there's one Craig's going to bring up later. Potentially that I'm going to rip to bits, but anyway, my number one is Transformers. As a kid, I was a huge Transformers fan. I had toys. I mean, even to the point where before we had a video recorder, when it used to be on, they used to put it on the Wide Awake Club. If anyone remembers that with Timmy Mallet.
Mike Myers started there as well.
A 5-minute, they used to play one episode over the course of the week. And I had a little tape recorder with a condenser microphone, and then I used to record it on my tape recorder so I could listen to it because I couldn't record it because we didn't have a video recorder. That's how obsessed with it I was. Wow. And that's why the movies now are such a disappointment, because they should be aimed at our age, the people that grew up with them, not at kids now.
I remember having the Megatron gun.
That's the only one I couldn't get. It was always sold out.
And that's the only Transformer I did have.
Yeah, tons of them.
See, I've got a friend who is so Transformers obsessed that he
Transformers friend.
He has a Autobot and Decepticon logo tattoo.
Awesome.
And he's got a car. Yeah, on his leg. He's got a car that looks a little bit like Jazz, and he's he's got the decals on the car to make it look like Jazz.
That's sad, isn't it, really?
Yeah, he's 36.
Does he make the noise when he gets out of it?
He doesn't, and he's an idiot for not doing that.
And he lives with his mum.
I don't remember the Transformers cartoon that much for some reason. I think because it was on the Wide Awake Club. I was used to watching things after school, so I never really remembered the cartoon much when I was younger. But as I got older, I think Sky One started showing it when I was a bit older. So I started watching it in the 90s when it was. They called it Transformers Generation 2, but it was the original cartoons. They just did a CGI overlay at the beginning and end of an episode. Like literally at the beginning and end of the episode, and the rest of the episode was the proper cartoon. It was just repackaged original series. It was just to sell some more toys. That's all it was. But
and they still hold up. I think those cartoons still hold up. I watched Transformers the movie within the last 2 years, and it has some cheesy moments in it. But as a rule, it's still pretty decent.
That's the best Transformers movie for me. I mean, it's got Weird Al Yankovic, Leonard Nimoy, and Orson Welles in his last role.
Yeah, as a Unicron.
What's not to love?
And a female Transformer as well, the first one we ever saw.
And she got metal boobies.
Yeah. And she was pink.
Oh.
Movies.
Down there.
Literally movies.
Go on then, Nick. You do your top three, starting it. Or do you want to go last because you haven't got any? Because the 90s was shit.
Hasn't got any what?
The 90s had some great cartoons, and just for that, I'm going to make all my cartoons from the 90s. No. Okay.
SpongeBob.
So I think my favourite cartoon of the 80s was probably...
I thought we were doing this in reverse order.
We are.
Yeah, we are. I'm saying my favourite one from the 80s was either the Raggy Dolls or Thundercats. I should probably go with Thundercats because people know what that is, but does anyone remember the Raggy Dolls?
Yeah, there's a guy walks past our house every day that we call Sad Sack.
The legend lives on. The legend lives on. Thundercats. Now, going back to what you were saying, Lee, about He-Man.
Do you want to listen to this as I pull them up?
Hang on, you don't need to listen to Thundercats. Thundercats is the opening theme to this podcast.
Oh, yeah, it is, yeah.
Thundercats are on the go. Thundercats are loose.
But Thundercats, I mean, first of all, the intro is phenomenal and still looks great now. But the actual storylines were so much... It had proper storylines. There was actually a theme around it. There was a plot in Thundercats. There was an end game. Which He-Man didn't have. He-Man was there to sell toys. It was a 20-minute toy commercial. Thundercats actually had plot and character development, and it's still now, if you go and watch it, still holds up massively. Very underrated cartoon in that regard. Now, Craig said that the 90s was shit for cartoons. So
we'll judge this. Go on.
Go on in. Okay. Batman the Animated Series.
Never watched it.
Never watched it. I think I might have done.
Idiots. What do you mean you never watched it? So
my girls have got some Batman stuff, but...
First of all, Lee, you would love Batman the Animated Series because the voice cast of Batman and the Joker are the same as in the Arkham games.
Awesome. So it's Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy. Yeah,
because, little known fact, the Joker was going to be voiced by Tim Curry, and it was hurting his throat too much to do the Joker voice, and so in the end, after a few episodes have been produced, Mark Hamill took over, and has been the Joker for lots of their projects ever since.
I think I've got them here, Lee, so I'll post you them.
All right, cool.
Batman the Animated Series is honestly amazing. Batman, the Mask of the Phantasm, was like a film they did. It only got released in America.
Has that got Mr. Freeze in it?
No.
I seem to remember, right? I'm going to go. This is totally in your wheelhouse for Pop After Dark. My best friend when I was growing up, but when CD-based... Shut up, knobhead. When CD-based video games consoles first came out, there was two.
Yeah.
There was a Panasonic one and a Philips one. Yep. And the Philips was the one that took off. The Panasonic one didn't. And my mate bought the Panasonic 3DO.
The 3DO,
and it came with like a demo disc on it, and it had this Batman animated thing on it, and it was something with Mr. Freeze, and I can't remember what it was.
Well, I mean, the Batman the Animated Series had every villain. And in fact, Batman the Animated Series is where Harley Quinn was created.
Okay.
That's where that character was first developed. So Paul Dini was the creative guy on Batman the Animated Series, who's gone on to do so much within the Batman universe, full stop. And it is probably the finest example of Batman series. That's right, Runtastic said to me, that just done 4 miles. I don't know why. Where is my phone? Oh, it's there. I haven't burned 1,100 calories, so stop lying. So
that's Stephen Hawkins.
That's my Runtastic app. So there's that. Now, I don't know. No, you know what? It would have been Animaniacs. I would have gone with Animaniacs as being my favourite 90s cartoon, but I'm going to go with the Tick instead.
The Tick?
Yeah.
I've never watched that either.
I've never heard of it.
Oh no, wasn't it Patrick Warburton?
No, well, so
or isn't he doing the new one?
Patrick Warburton did. Shut up. Patrick Warburton did a live action version in 2001. Okay. Peter Serafinowicz is doing the new version for Amazon now.
You mean Serafinowicz?
No, I mean Serafinowicz.
Yeah, okay.
He follows me on Twitter. Does he follow you on Twitter? I didn't think so.
Yeah, but I pronounce his fucking name. You can't.
Whatever. So he's a tick in the new Amazon series.
He might do, actually. I'm going to have a look now.
He's playing the Tick in the new one, but there was an animated series of the Tick that started in 1994, and it was the first time that there was a cartoon that parodied superheroes. So, for example, there was a spoof of Batman in there. There was a spoof of Wonder Woman in there as well. It was just ahead of its time, and it was extremely funny, and it still holds up now. So the Tick.
I've heard of it, but only from the live action one with Patrick Warburton.
The cartoon. I mean, I like the live action one, but the cartoon is far superior. Yeah.
Okay, so this is pretty unique, because I was expecting loads of duplications on these cartoons.
It's yours pole position. Is one of yours pole position?
I was going to put pole position in there, actually, and that's another one that no one's ever heard of.
Pole position's got such a good theme tune, though.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah,
that's because you were in it, right? My third one. Cities of Gold.
Oh, I
hated Cities of Gold. Oh, yeah, I'm with Lee. He used to bug the hell out of me. So
why?
Because it was awful.
Good theme tune, crap series.
16th century. From all over Europe.
I don't need to hear it to know it's crap.
The new world.
Oh, I loved everything about it because we were poor, so we couldn't go to America.
You could go to El Dorado, yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't get a flight to El Dorado. We just couldn't afford it.
Neither could I.
Right, okay, so you just sacked that one off. Okay, so my number 2.
I'm not pulling your leg, Craig. I genuinely didn't like it.
Okay, that's fair enough. You'll like this one.
Go on then.
Battle of the Planets.
Right, have you watched that recently? It's terrible. This is the one I said I was going to rip at Craig's, right? It's got an R2-D2 rip-off in the spaceship, and he's camp as hell.
Yeah.
Ooh, hello, everyone. Welcome to Battle of the Planets. Ooh. It's terrible, Craig.
Ooh, I need an oil change.
Yeah, ooh. It's awful.
It's
not aged well at all.
That is iconic, that. We're there now. I'm 70 years old with my testicles and my cornflakes.
Yeah. At the time, I loved it. Watching it back now, it's awful.
It's a bit like Monkey. Do you remember Monkey?
I loved Monkey.
I loved Monkey.
It is like you go and watch it now, and it is really cheesy.
It was cheesy back then, in fairness.
Yeah, there was more cheese on that.
Cloud. Yeah.
Okay, so my number 1, and it's pure genius, is Around the World with Willy Fogg.
Oh, you know what? Craig's got the worst. He's got the worst taste in cartoons.
Why am I?
I agree.
You know what? Let me guess. I can guarantee you, Lee, that Craig's number 4 was Dogtanian and the Musker Hounds.
Oh, no, I hated
that. Yeah, no. See?
See?
I told you. Craig likes shit cartoons. That's all it's proved. That list there has proved Craig likes shit cartoons.
Yeah, my wife's just heard me singing that song and heard me say that it's crap from Dogtanian 3. Musker Hounds just shook her head at me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
Musker Hounds are always ready. For all and all for
one. I went back and forwards. I was going to put Dungeons and Dragons in there.
Oh, classic.
Kid.
I like Dungeons and Dragons, despite knowing nothing about what it was actually based on.
What about Ulysses?
Yes,
Ulysses.
I even had a book with the like pictures in and like a brief sort of. It was like a real childhood, like child story book thing.
That is heavy metal. That
Trapdoor. I was going to put in there, but didn't know whether it was classed as a cartoon.
It is the 21st century.
Jason and Wheeled Warriors.
See, I don't know that.
Jason and Wheeled Warriors.
Yeah, no.
It was weird. Like they all had these vehicles, and they had these kind of like plant things that grew out of them that had things like buzzsaws.
Okay,
it was all futuristic. Yeah, it was all a bit weird.
Jace and the Wheeled Warriors.
Yeah. I almost put down because I loved it so much when I was a kid, but Ghostbusters, I enjoyed that more than the film. But
what? Which film?
The original Ghostbusters.
You are kidding me.
When I was 5, yeah.
I thought the real Ghostbusters.
No, even when I was 5. Mind you, it wasn't out when I was 5, either of them.
So, I personally think the original Ghostbusters film is very overrated. I like it a lot, but for people to think it's the greatest film of all time, I just don't get it. And I actually really like the remake. Oh, sorry, not the remake, the reboot.
Right, Ghostbusters, the original, is one of the greatest films ever made, and still holds up today.
So,
I watched it a couple of weeks ago, actually.
This is something, Lee, you asked me a few days ago about. You asked me a very important question in your eyes. You said my favourite film of all time, and I gave you my favourite film. Well, I gave you some of my favourite films of all time, and you never said anything about my choices. So, number one, what gives? Secondly, in that question back to you, what is your favourite film of all time?
You'll have to remind me of the ones that you put down because I've slept since then.
I said it would probably.
How many? Oh, okay, whoa! Don't fucking discount me, or I'll stab you.
You haven't seen anything.
I've got my favourite films of all time.
Classic films. Okay, so the problem.
Craig's is like Deep Throat, Debbie Does Dallas,
and Maleficent. Right. So the problem I think with a best film is, me personally, I cannot have a best film because I think it can very much depend on the move. No, shut up, Craig. What I'm saying is that
Craig.
What I mean is, one day it could be Jaws.
Pick your favourite child.
The next day...
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, it's easy for me as well. No problems.
I'm not going to say it, but that's easy.
Yeah, I can say the same thing. But
that's just that your poor kids listening back to this will be like that. Is it me?
Great.
I think if they're listening back to this, they'll be more worried about me saying that.
Saying vaginal discharge.
Or beef curtains.
Other stuff. Beef curtains. You're a pezzler. Craig, you're a pezzler.
Thanks.
So I do think it depends on your mood at the time, or there's other factors. But to me,
I disagree.
I think it'd be a toss-up between the original Back to the Future, Jaws.
Very cliche, then. Everything you've said is cliche.
Agreed, but go
on. And I also said Tron Legacy, even though I know it's not. Yeah, but no. But
what?
The reason for that, and this is what's so good about films, is that
he was raped by Jeff. What's his face? Bridges.
I know that Tron Legacy is not a great film, but to me, I have an emotional attachment to that film, which means that it will always mean something special to me. So even though I know it's not the best film, it means more to me than Ghostbusters would to you, for example. There's just I've got an emotional connection to it. But
I'll give you that.
Yeah, but that's it. So yeah, it probably Jaws, Back to the Future.
Jaws, I'll agree. The Back to the Future films, I feel the same way about them that you feel about Ghostbusters. I think they're overrated.
Oh really?
And Darren, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry.
The thing is, for me, the Back to the Future films are the same film told 3 times.
Pretty much. Well, they are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can't argue with that.
It just changed the costume and the set.
I love the second one, although it is, as you say, the first one rehashed with different costumes, and I've never been a massive fan of the third one.
The shit, Darren, they're all shit.
He's gonna when you go over for Halloween Horror Nights now, he's gonna decapitate you.
Yeah, he'll be wearing my skin next time we record you OP. My top 3 films are...
Top 3, are we?
Yeah. Godfather.
Never seen it.
Never seen it.
Sorry.
You hear the fucking nonsense.
I'm not a fan of that type of film, I'll be honest, so I don't even bother want to watch it.
I raged against that machine right? And I watched that film in 2005 as a train driver in a hotel with my trainer manager who was training me. He's a big Mafia fan. And what a film. It touched me in so many ways.
And so did he.
And so did
the
he.
person that was sat next to him, yeah.
My number two, and I haven't watched it. I've got it on Blu-ray. I just haven't sat down with our Eve. She's 13 now, and I'm desperate for her to watch it because it's a 15, which burns me head out. Because I used to go to video shop and get it out when I was like.
Right, you need to parent better because I've got a 12-year-old downstairs that's watched stuff that's 18.
Yeah, your daughter's going to be fucking Fred West when she grows up, right?
She's already there, mate. I promise you.
Is Gremlins?
How was that a 15?
That is a 15.
Yeah, we watched it this Christmas. I made Lindsay watch it for the first time all the way through at Christmas, and I was disappointed with how it held up.
You joke. Now, I haven't watched that film in 20 years.
Yeah, I haven't seen it for a long time.
That's what I had very good memories of Gremlins, and going back and watching it, I thought, you know what, it's not quite as good as I remembered it.
So my number one...
Here we go, get ready, Nick.
...is a Bill Murray classic.
Okay, it has to be one film.
Lost in Translation.
A John Candy classic.
John Candy and Bill Murray?
Yeah. That narrows it down.
Caddyshack?
No.
Meatballs?
I can't think of anything they're in together.
Stripes.
Oh, I haven't seen that for donkey's years.
Now, that was my first time I'd ever seen vagina and boobies in a film.
I was going to say, because you come out of one, I hope.
You doesn't remember that.
There's no evidence of that, but...
I might probably come out of a problem.
Now, that film, again, putting it into context, I used to watch that film on video with my nans in the back room, and my nan didn't know it had boobies and Marys in, but I used to sit... Ooh, I've got a big hairy Mary. I used to sit and watch that film every weekend, and my mate done me a knockoff black copy on DVD, because you couldn't buy it. You couldn't get it on DVD. I've now got it on iTunes. I bought it. I adore that movie. Bill Murray and the Dead Ghostbuster are absolutely amazing in it.
Harold Ramis.
I don't care. He might do, he might not.
But it's funny you say it, Craig, because I remember when I left off A New Hope and kind of probably should have put that on the list. Because A New Hope, I remember when that came out on video for the first time, this was in the 80s when videos didn't come out very often. And when I did it
on the Jews used to have a video man. All right,
Jews? Did you just say the Jews used to have a video man?
No, the Jews.
I'm pretty sure. There you go, the Jews.
The Jews.
The Jews have a video man.
We had a video
shop.
Yes.
Oh yes, we had a video man.
What is that?
We had a video shop.
Oh, there you.
So we didn't have a man come round, but we used to have a video shop down the road that we used to go to. But my dad took me up to the...
Did you have I'm going on a tangent here, right? Did you have a lemonade man?
Yes, Lowcocks.
I'm not asking about how you're sitting.
Hey.
And you used to take the bottles back and get money back?
Yeah, Lowcocks.
You're fucking weird up there.
So, I went to HMV in Oxford Street when I was about 4 or 5. My dad bought Star Wars. He said to me, "You're going to love this film."
Is that the tumble dryer?
No, it's me on a chair.
Okay.
He said, "You're going to love this film," and I thought, I'm not going because you like it, so therefore I'm not going to like it. I watched Star Wars every Sunday morning for about a year and a half. Every Sunday morning about 4 hours, I'd watch Star Wars. And then he told me that there was 2 more Star Wars films, and that blew my mind. Because this was 86
Oh, that's what happened, is it?
Or something. Yes. So, like, I had no idea that, these films had come out or anything. You couldn't wait for videos. That's how you had to watch films. Kids today don't know. 6 months after the cinema release, it's on DVD and Blu-ray.
That is a tumble dryer.
It's a chair.
What are you doing on the chair?
It's a metal chair.
Are you drying clothes on the chair?
Yes. Yeah, spinning around.
That's what it is then.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been a fucking boss episode of PoP.
Hey, I haven't finished yet.
Carry on.
I don't actually know whether I've got a top 3. My number 1's definite, and no, there's not even any competition for that one. Number 3, I would say it's some Tarantino film, possibly Inglourious Bastards at this point, but I do have a real soft spot for Reservoir Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Reservoir Dogs disturbed me because I seen that. I come to the game late. I watched Reservoir Dogs after Pulp Fiction.
I saw Reservoir Dogs in a tiny little cinema before it went on general release.
It's amazing, that film.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
My number 2, actually, and we've already mentioned it tonight, is probably Deadpool.
Wow.
It's been a long time. I've become very jaded with movies. It takes. I can't remember the last time I saw a film that got me pumped. I think the last one I can really remember it was Scream, where I genuinely came out of watching Scream and just wanted to know everything I could about that film.
To me, I don't think that's a movie thing. I think that's an age thing.
Possibly.
You're old now, and shit doesn't really bother you anymore. That's why you're not passionately against films or for films. You just really, yeah, it was all right. It's like me. I smile through all of Pirates 5, but hey, I'm Andy D. Genoja. I didn't like the film that much because the pirate said "aha" 3 times, and I had a poo. Do you know what I mean?
I do hate Paul McCartney in that film, though.
Paul McCartney was the best thing about the film.
No,
I wept.
It was the worst thing in that film.
Oh, J.T. Maggie May, they
we're
have
not talking
taken
about Pirates 5.
it away. Carry on.
Deadpool, it's been a long time since I've watched a film that I've finished watching it and could put it back in. Like, we bought it on Blu-ray, watched it. I could literally watch it, take it out, and put it back in.
Yeah.
Have you watched all the extras?
No, I don't bother. I just want to watch the film.
Oh, watch the extras.
But I was in a
That
job.
film is ad-libbed. That film is ad-libbed.
I moved locations recently to. I was in in a room on my own with no one around me, and I just
That's
had my
called
phone.
prison, Lee. That's
Fuck
prison.
Off. That's where you belong. And I've watched it something like 5 times in the space of 3 days because it's just so eminently watchable.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I'll agree with that.
My number 1 is a film from, I do believe it was
Lassie, come home.
1986. I was 14 at the time.
I used to have hair.
Kind of like Nick, it was one that I got a dodgy copy of it and I watched it something like every night for 2.5 weeks.
9.5 weeks.
The original RoboCop.
Oh, Clarence Boddicker, one of the
And I tell you
greatest baddies of all time.
It still holds up.
It still holds up.
The first RoboCop, I can agree, still holds up massively. I've not seen the remake.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I actually went to see it over the weekend and I was on the Real Fans episode where we talked about that and it's awful.
I remember being obsessed with RoboCop when I was about 6 or 7 because there was a cartoon. They did a RoboCop cartoon.
Series. There was a TV series.
Yeah, the TV series was awful.
That came much later, but there was a cartoon in the 80s called RoboCop and the Ultra Police. And so there was a whole toy line of RoboCop toys, and I had RoboCop and Anne and the police car and a few villains, which were from the cartoon, not from the thing. But even ED-209 was in the cartoon. So I loved RoboCop before I knew the film. But yeah, the film is, even now, is phenomenal.
I was obsessed with it. As a kid, my mum and dad used to make me go shopping with them on a Thursday night. Every Thursday night, we'd go shopping. And I used to walk around like pretending to be RoboCop because that's how sad I was.
I've just gone onto iTunes now, right? Now, this is the price is right. RoboCop, the 1987 film, is X amount of money. RoboCop, the 2014 film,
like
is X amount of money. Right. Which is higher or lower?
Oh, RoboCop, the original's way. I've seen the new one in like some like WH Smith or whatever for $2.99.
Yeah.
RoboCop from '87 is $8.99 on iTunes.
Yep.
RoboCop the new version $7.99 on iTunes.
It's terrible.
RoboCop 2, which I love that film.
I have a love-hate relationship with the second one.
$7.99. And RoboCop 3, which
and that's just horrendous.
Now
$7.99.
I've got quite a funny story about RoboCop 3. Hang on 1 second, actually.
I lost my virginity to RoboCop 3. Did you?
Literally to RoboCop when his little thing.
I had there was a kid at school when I was must have been
in a wheelchair.
90, no, it must be about 90 or 91, right? And there was a kid at school, and he said, "Oh, I've got a cousin who lives in America, and he's worked on RoboCop 3, and he sent me over a copy of it." And I was like, "Bullshit." And he's like, no, we've got this film called RoboCop 3. I was like, no, you haven't. So he said, yeah, I'll bring it in. I was like, okay, you bring it in, I'll give you 50p. If you bring in a tape that's got
50p?
RoboCop 3 in...
50p.
Right,
1993.
50p. Right, yeah.
RoboCop
right, 93. But it didn't. That's the thing, Craig, right? So in 1991, I got a tape handed to me in school that said, written in pen, RoboCop 3, took it home, gave it to Mum and Dad and said, apparently this is RoboCop 3. Let's watch it, put it on. It was RoboCop 3. Now, what happened, as Craig's probably just found out, is that it got filmed around 1990 or so, not long after the second one was made. The studio went bankrupt, and so it was put on the shelf until 1993 when somebody bought it for distribution. It was finally released.
It shouldn't have been.
No. But the funny thing is that I remember on the Amiga, we had the RoboCop 3 game, and the RoboCop 3 game, I think, came out in 91 or 92, because that was they'd obviously made the game.
Amiga. Yeah, I remember that.
They obviously tried to release the game for when the film was coming out, and then the game was finished, and, you know, they just released the game anyway.
Is that the one that had slidey RoboCop? It had, like, inertia, so when you stopped, it didn't stop, it kind of slid along a little bit.
No, it was kind of 3D. It was like early 3D, like Doom.
I had it on the Commodore 64.
Oh yeah, you had the robot ninjas and everything in it, so it was very similar to the film.
It was terrible.
But no, the Amiga one was pretty good actually. But yeah, the original.
The arcade game of the original film was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a fortune completing that thing.
They made the version of that in the Amiga that was almost identical. Very good. Eating the baby food to survive. Jars of baby food to survive. Well, there you go. I think that was quite interesting.
Yeah, it didn't go as nasty as I thought it was going to.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lee. Maybe next time. It's because we're too likeable. That's what it is.
Maybe.
You know, when it comes down to it.
I want to know where Craig is. Craig in a different part of the world, because it looks dark out of his window. Yet if you look out of my window, it's quite light.
I know you're.
It's actually got very dark where I am as well, actually.
Serve the public trust, protect the innocent, uphold the law.
See, I was that obsessed with RoboCop that I even remember 20 Seconds to Comply by Silver Bullet.
No.
No?
No.
Craig,
No.
search 20 Seconds to Comply by Silver Bullet. There's a song.
Okay. Is it a gay song?
It's like a rap song, but all the little intermediate bits
20 Seconds to Comply
are clips from RoboCop. So obviously, as a massive RoboCop fan at 14-year-old, I was obsessed with it.
Yep.
You found it?
Yeah.
So Lee, because you like RoboCop, so you obviously like that kind of film. You ever seen John Wick?
Not yet, no.
Go and see John Wick. Honestly.
Yeah, I really want to.
It's really good.
Is this going to be dance music?
I told you, it's a rappy song.
I want to go and watch RoboCop now. Look at Lee going all like wobbly headed. Don't wobble that fucking head, Lee.
It's quite funny. It reminds me a little bit of when they did something similar with Mortal Kombat. They did like a dance version of the Mortal Kombat theme tune and had loads of samples from the game.
Yeah, there's loads of bits from RoboCop in that, in the chorus and bits. It's cool. So I was obviously obsessed with it.
Yeah, if you like being a fan at the time, yeah, absolutely, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Right, Craig, is that a wrap?
Yes, that was a wrap. I told you.
It was a wrap, yeah.
I'm in a wrap of the episode.
Yeah, I want this out tonight, Nick.
Oh, that might not happen.
What's he talking about?
Oh,
Yeah, not the episode, something else.
He's been trying to get it out all night.
little Nick.
A couple of times I've almost seen it as well, which has been the worst thing. But Lee, before you shoot off, we already mentioned at the top of the show.
Oh, no!
Oh my god! We just saw Craig Cock. No one else will see that. What a shame.
I am traumatised.
You missed the delight.
Is it away?
Yes, it's Hawaii, man. It's Hawaii.
Oh God,
Lee,
Knob on the Tyne is all mine.
Craig, shut up.
Knob on the Tyne is all mine.
At the top of the show, we did mention where people could hear you. I'm sure most people that be listening to this podcast will know who you are, but for those that don't, please plug yourself away.
I am the owner, creator, and CEO of the longest-running Universal Orlando podcast ever. We are the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast, and where you can find us wherever you find Dis After Dark or Universal After Dark, and this one, PoP After Dark.
Unless you're searching on iTunes and you've been taken down.
Oh, but you're back up now.
We are back up now.
We were in prison last night. Boom!
Who's in iTunes prison?
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all of that. Just search UUO Podcast and you will find us there.
There you
Search
go.
Orange-Headed Buffoon.
And it is my second favourite Universal podcast.
After Orlando Informer.
Yeah, if you want. I have to say that for
This
contractual
one
reasons.
plugs Universal Edition.
Well... So, on that note, we bid you fair adieu. For those that have made it all the way through to the end of this episode, thank you. Lee, it's a pleasure. We never speak enough, but it's always lovely to have you on. And I'm sure we'll have you back, if not before, when Justice League comes out, because I think that's going to be a massive, massive game changer, I think.
When is that, actually? November, is it?
November, yeah. I think we get it at the same time as America, or yeah. I think we do get it at the same time. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, dear for listening, and we will see you on PoP After Dark very soon.
My name is Adam Goodger.
We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. If you would like to support Dis After Dark and the other After Dark Network podcasts, please visit our website at www.patreon.com/Dis After Dark. That's patreon.com/Dis After Dark. Thank you.